So today we're going to look at animation frame cleanup. So on frame number 559, there is uh, a mesh of lines that make it difficult to discern what is going on in this section of the picture frame. So to clean up that section, we're going to, as an example, select the eye monster and take the lines that are the ones that we don't want to show on this frame and move these strokes or these lines onto another layer, and then we can hide that layer on control. So when it hits frame number 559, we can set the opacity of these strokes to 0, which means that they won't be visible, and whenever we need these lines to be shown, then we can set the opacity back to 1. So let's begin. So I'm just going to quickly go through, and okay, let's start at 559. So I tab into edit mode and I press A to select all the frames, and then I'm going to choose the mode where we deselect or we subtract selections from the selection set. So right now we've got all the strokes selected. I say subtract, and I subtract the ones that I want to keep, which is this, probably this, and that line. Yeah. So this, all the orange lines, we're going to move them to another layer, and these will remain uh, in the eye layer. So I'm going to create a new group called hidden lines, and then I hit, when I'm going to show you the menu sequence first and then the short key. So it's grease pencil, no, stroke, move to layer, and then the layer that we want to move these strokes to. So we want to move it to hidden lines, and the shortcut key is M. And you're going to use that because it gets very repetitive when you have to clean up many frames. So now it's gone to hidden lines layer. So if I hide the hidden lines layer, you see it's gone. So let's do one more example. So I'm going to go to 560. Okay, 561 has these frames, so I'm going to choose all with A, and then make sure I'm on subtract selection, and I subtract the part that I want to keep visible. Yep. And then I hit M and move to layer hidden lines. So the selected ones will be moved to the hidden lines layer. Yep, and that's gone. So we've done it for 2 frames, and we would have to do it for every frame where we want to clean up the overlap of lines. And how do we control that during animation? So that is by using the opacity flag, by animating that property so that when it hits 559 we set it to 0, and for all the other frames it's set to 1. And the way that that works is, so let's maybe go to the beginning, and I set the opacity to 1 at the beginning of the playback, and I said that this is an animatable property. And then I want to go to the dope sheet where I can see the opacity property, and then let's go to frame number 559. I'm going to open up a timeline so I can see both of them. So 559. Yeah, 559. By default, it stays at opacity 1.0. So I'm going to change that to 0, and it's hidden. and I set the animatable property. So now there's a keyframe at 559 to change the opacity to 0. So now as you can see, when it plays back, when it hits, till then the lines, all those lines are visible, but then when it hits this 559 frame, the opacity value is 0, which means that it won't be shown anymore. And we could always turn it back on whenever we need to. So that's a quick introduction to how we can hide lines by using layers.